We like a lot of sauce. When I say you can never have too much cheese on the pizza or in the fridge, like, who cares? If buy 2 bags, you might not need them, but if you do, you got the second bag. I'm gonna need a second bag. See, we're already all out of cheese. I'm all out of cheese. I'm so lost without you. Okay, new bag of cheese. The fluid today it needs to be in between 105 and 118 degrees Fahrenheit so that the active yeast works. And it's active dry yeast. We're going to mix this in, and then we're going to give it about 5 minutes to work. Now, typically, you would put it in water, the temperature of 105 to 118, but since we like things sweet, we're using pineapple syrup. Okay, so I still heated the pineapple syrup to 118 degrees, and now I'm just mixing in the yeast, get it nice and mixed in there, and then I'm going to let that sit for 5 minutes. Alright, now, while we let that sit, we can combine the rest of our ingredients. Alright, we have olive oil, we have salt, fresh basil, well not fresh basil, but you know, garlic powder, flour, and sugar. Now that should be all that we need besides the water if you choose, but we're using pineapple juice, okay, pineapple syrup, because we like it really sweet. And we like it garlicky, so we're going to use garlic in our dough, and basil as well because it's pizza dough. Who doesn't like basil in their pizza dough? Alrighty, so let's combine the ingredients. Here's my mixer. Alright, now typically you would use a large mixing bowl like this, okay, and you would use half the flour and then all the other ingredients, and you would get it nice and wet and soupy. Then you would add the rest of the flour until it got doughy and you would knead it. But since we're not doing that, we're going to use our mixer. We're just going to measure stuff right into the mixer. Alright, so traditionally I don't measure things very well. But today I'm going to measure them as best I can for you. Alright, so here's a 1 cup. We're going to use 2 3/4 cups of flour. Now, I usually don't do this. Now, you never pack your flour. You slice it off with a knife. Okay? And the reason I don't do it is because I get flour everywhere when I do. Alright, so here's 1 cup. Two cups, and I'm gonna guesstimate it. Okay, that looks like about 3/4 of a cup. Okay, so we're gonna set the flour aside because we'll need that later. Don't want to put it away. We're gonna take a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. It doesn't matter if you go a little over or a little under, it's all to taste. Okay, so there's a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now, the original recipe for this called for 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. I couldn't even taste it in the thing. So we amped it up and amped it up and amped it up till we're using an entire tablespoon of garlic powder. You see that? A tablespoon. It smells like a lot when you mix it, but after you cook it, you can barely taste it. I swear to God. All right, now we're going to use the basil, and we're going to use a tablespoon of that. Okay, now that is it for dry ingredients. Now the only wet ingredient left is olive oil, and I saved that for last because I don't want to get this wet before I go and measure everything else. So now I just add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. There is 1. And there is 2. All right. Use a little spatula to get all the oil out of there, because the oil is important. Alright. Now, it hasn't been 5 minutes yet, but you can see already the fuzzy foam work of the yeast doing its job. Alright, so we're going to come back in 5 minutes and add that to our mix and put it all in the blender. Alright, we'll see you in 5 minutes. And I always forget something. So, since we didn't do anything yet other than put everything in there, it's not really forgetting. But we need a tablespoon, actually 3 tablespoons of sugar. Because we like it sweet. We do. That's why we use the pineapple syrup and the sugar. Alright, so here's 1, 2, and 3. It probably equals almost a 1/4 cup. I don't know what's in a 1/4 cup, but that's a lot of sugar. And you can tell I like sugar. Okay. Alright, we'll see you in 2 minutes when the yeast is done. Okay, so this is the final ingredient. It's the fluid with the yeast in it. Okay, I'm gonna stir down the fluff a little with the whisk. Okay, now I'm gonna add it here. Now, since yeast is such an important ingredient, I'm gonna try and scrape all of everything out of this dish. Okay, because yeast is important. So, there's all the yeast I can get. Alright. Now, this part's real easy. We take it to the mixer. We set it on there. We close it. Turn it on. And then I hit this low dough. That's it. And in 2 minutes, we have a ball of dough. Now, if it looks a little too dry, I add some fluid. If it looks a little too wet, I add some flour. And right now, it's looking pretty good. I might add a little fluid. I'll go get a teaspoon of warm water. Add much of the teaspoon, and you saw how fast it started to move around. Alright? Okay, that sounds good to me. Okay, so it's been 2 minutes on the mixer, and it's completely done and mixed. That we didn't use, well, we're going to use it now. Okay, so we took a little bit of olive oil, and we put it on the inside of the bowl, and then we massaged it all over the insides of the bowl. Okay? Alright, now it's coated in oil. We're going to take a little flour, a pinch, and we're going to spread it on the counter, because this is where we're about to put our dough. If we don't put the flour on there, then the dough's going to stick to the counter. Now I'm just going to dump this out. There you go. Now, take a little flour and coat your hands, okay? Otherwise the dough's going to stick to you. Now at this point you're going to go, oh my god, all I smell is garlic. Holy smokes. Don't worry. You can barely taste it when you cook it. And you can't smell it either, to be honest. That's why we keep going up and up in the garlic. Okay, so now I've gotten all the little dough bits off of here that I can. Time to abandon the mixer. Okay, now this looks like a hot mess, right? It doesn't look like it should. So we're going to press it and fold it a couple times. Alright. Now that we've done that, we're going to make a little puck out of it. Okay. It's kind of round. It isn't impressive looking. No, doesn't have to be. This is homemade pizza, remember. Alright, now, you're going to take it and you're going to put it in the bowl. Doesn't matter what side. You're going to put it in there, you're going to swish it around, okay? And then you're going to flip it to make sure that the side that's up has some oil on it too. All right, you're going to roll it around again, make sure the bottom side's got oil. Now that ensures that it won't stick to the bowl in an hour when you go to take it out. Now there you got your little round nugget of dough. Yum yum. Now you cover with saran wrap. Okay, if you don't have saran wrap, you can be old-fashioned and just use a towel. Okay, but I like using saran wrap. I think that it keeps all the enzymes of the action that's going on making the dough rise inside, and it makes things work better. That's why I like using saran wrap instead of just a towel. All right, now you just set that aside for 1 hour. We'll see you in an hour. So the dough's risen for an hour, so you can take a look at the dough and you'll see the size of it. Okay, now it's risen 2 to 3 times as big as it was. Now when it's ready, you can press 2 fingers in and they stay. You see that? Doesn't go away. Now, all of this is air mostly. You have to punch it down. So when they say punch it down, you push it down like that and you see it deflate some. Alright, and you fold it over and you do that again. And you fold it over and you do that again. Okay, now you've deflated your dough. Alright, now take the dough and I'm going to push on it a couple times because you saw me fold it over. It's not really joined together very well. Okay, so now I'm going to start trying to make a circle out of it. Okay? Now I'm going to turn it over several times because if you don't, it's going to rip the bottom. You're just going to push the top and it's going to keep springing back on you. It's not going to work. Do what you want. Okay? So now you see how the top looks all nice when you flip it over. You see all the weird lines in it? That's because you're pushing it all around. That's why you got to work it from both sides. Okay, so it's about an 8-inch, 10-inch kind of disc. It's more triangle, but that's okay. So now you can take the rolling pin and start working it out. Alright, now you hear air bubbles escaping. You see that? That's an air bubble right there. It's okay. Now remember to flip it because it stretches the top and not the bottom. It just pushes it around. And as soon as you let go, it springs back into place. Because apparently dough has a memory. See how it's stretching out nice now? Okay. In a second, we'll flip it over and we'll do the other side and it'll stay. Oh my God, it's actually starting to get round. Now I usually make it just as big as the counter here. So that's about as much as fills the pan. I use a pretty large pan for the pizza dough. You'll see in a second. It's just about the same size as the pan. Okay? Now to get it into the pan, I fold it in 4. Like that. Put the pan back on. Put it right into the middle. Unfold it. Alright. Now we're going to have to stretch it again back to the sides. It's alright. If you want to put cheese in the crust, you can. I don't know how the pizza places like Pizza Hut and Domino's do it and keep the cheese in there, because I tried with straight mozzarella and the cheese just baked right into the pizza and we couldn't find it. But it was tasty, but it wasn't cheesy. Alright, so there you go. That's your pizza dough. Now, if you want it to stay flat and not be all bubbly and shit, you gotta take a fork and puncture holes. And that way, it's not gonna air bubble in there and expand. Alright, so now I've punctured holes everywhere. I got myself a nice pizza platform. Start with a whole bunch of sauce. I use Contadina, lady. Usually we use Prego, but Contadina wasn't sold out and it's good. It's been sweet enough. We like a lot of sauce because a large pizza is too much for us two to eat. So for the next 2 days we have extra pizza and the sauce seems to disappear right into the pizza for some reason. So, okay, get a new bottle. I know you're like, holy sh! That's a lot of sauce. No, it's not. Trust me, it's not. Okay, I make sure I get some sauce everywhere because, like, I hate dry pizza. So I assume everybody's like me and they hate dry pizza. So there. See, nice and saucy. Alright. Now, first topping is cheese. Okay. You can never have too much cheese. Save a little of your cheese until the end. Okay? So you put a whole bunch of cheese on, but you got to put a little on at the end. I'll explain. Otherwise, it doesn't look professional. I know it's silly, but it makes the pizza. Alright, now, when I say you can never have too much cheese, on the pizza or in the fridge, like, who cares? If buy 2 bags, you might not need them, but if you do, you got the second bag. I'm going to need a second bag. See, we're already all out of cheese. I'm all out of cheese. I'm so lost without you. Okay, new bag of cheese. Alrighty. Doesn't matter what order you put anything in. I like putting on onions and stuff first. We already cut them all up. I'm just going to sprinkle them everywhere. Doesn't really matter. Peppers are in here too. And if you got too much of something in one spot, just spread it out. It's alright. You're eating it. They're your hands, right? Okay. Okay, if you drop something on the floor, give it to the dogs, throw it away, rinse it off, use it again. I don't care, but, you know, do what you got to do. Alright, so here we are with onions and peppers and pineapple. Gotta love pineapple. Now, I called it Hawaiian pizza because of the crust. I put pineapple syrup in the crust. I also put pineapple on it because I just can't get enough pineapple. It's so good. It cuts the pepperoni and the salt, all the things. It just gives a nice flavor to a pizza. Now we got 2 types of meat tonight. My wife loves breakfast sausage on the pizza. I know it's not your normal sausage. Normal sausage is Italian sausage, spicy sausage, stuff like that. But she loves the Joneses sausage on here. And I don't blame her. It's some good stuff. More cheese. Don't forget more cheese, guys. Swear to God, never have enough cheese. Now, I know you're like, you're covering up stuff with the pepperoni. It's okay. I covered up the cheese with the stuff. I covered up sauce with cheese. I covered up crust with sauce and cheese. It's all right. Pizza can be in layers. Doesn't have to all be individually displayed. Okay? Ain't nothing perfect. Alright, is that pretty? Okay, now, if you ever get a pizza that's frozen and you take it out of the box, there's no extra cheese on the toppings. But as soon as you get one from a restaurant, there's always cheese sprinkled on top of the pepperoni and stuff, so it looks like they threw on extra cheese to make it look really, and they did. They threw on extra cheese. Okay, so that's how I like to top a pizza. Now, You're going to bake it at 420 degrees for 12 minutes in your oven. And then, okay, here, let me show you. See where we got the rack? You're going to bake it here for 12 minutes, okay? And then, after 12 minutes, you're going to put it up here, and you're going to bake it there for 8 minutes, and you're done. Okay, so 420, 12 minutes, and then 8 minutes. So we'll bake, 4, 2, 0, start. All right, as soon as it's ready, we'll put it in.
Let's eat.